Welcome. I am Andrea. If you didn't know, all right, all right. If you're new here, hello. I am so glad that you are here and you want to learn with me. Okay. But if you're not new here and you've been here, thank you. Thank you so much for coming back. That means you like me. Oh my God, you like me. Anywho, yeah. So, like I said, if you're new, hello. And if you're not, and also if you're new, get used to the personality, all right? It ain't for everybody. It's a little different, but we're gonna have a time. We're gonna have a time here. Okay, we're gonna learn some stuff and we're gonna chit chat. Okay? Okay. You know, but also by the way, have y'all seen that meme where it's like um something about like I was going for the oversized look, so I put on my man's clothes and they fit? Yeah, baby, that was me. Cause I definitely was like in my husband's drawer trying to find me just a little, a little oversized look shirt. I was like, let me just grab a t-shirt of his. No, they fit. They fit. So I was like, I might as well just wear one of my shirts. So here we are. Anywho, right? So let's get into the episode. Would you believe me if I told you that ancient Greeks, right, had computers over 2,000 years ago? I ain't gonna lie to you. I wouldn't have believed myself, right? But it's true. Yes, yes, baby, yes. They had computers. They was doing the damn thing, right? So you might be wondering, because I was wondering, like, for what? Why? How? How did we do this? How? That's really what. How? Like, make it make sense. So I'm gonna make it, or try to make it make sense to y'all, right? Okay. So story time. Okay. So in 1900, right, there was a boat of Greek sponge divers. I guess the island of Greece didn't have, it's not really an island. Okay. So, anyways, Greece. Okay. I guess, I don't know. Maybe there was a short supply of sponges to dive on. I don't know. But they were on their way to North Africa to go to some sponge diving there. And there was a bad storm. Okay. So they had to stop. They had to take a little breaky break. And they stopped off of the coast of Antikythera. Mm. And when I tell you I worked so hard to try to remember how to pronounce it. Whew. Anyways, so they stopped there. And then after the storm like rolls past, the captain is like, let's like try to dive and see if there is like any sponges around here that we could find. Okay. So hold on, let me find his name because yeah, y'all know I got my handy dandy cards. Okay, Captain Demetrius Kontos. I might be messing up some names in this process, y'all, because these are like ancient Greek and German and different ethnicities peoples. So if I mess up names, I apologize. It is not intentional. I promise you. So Captain Demetrius Kontos, right? He sent his youngest diver, because it was a boat of divers, obviously, right? So he sent the youngest one down, Elias Stadiatis. Yeah, we're gonna go with that. He sent him down to go look for some sponges, right? And Elias came back shaking, okay, shaking in his boots of fear. The captain's asking, like, what's wrong? And Elias is like, bro, there's heaps of dead bodies down there. Like, what? I was not expecting this. And so the captain is like, let me go look, right? So he suits up, which, by the way, suiting up in 1900 ain't the same as suiting up today. Like, y'all watch Scooby Doo? Ooh, take it back. Okay, have y'all seen that episode of Scooby Doo where the diver, it's like a diver suit and it's like a huge brass helmet thingy with the heavy suit? You know what I'm talking about? Okay, so that. All right. So that's what he was suiting up with, right? So he goes down there. Come to find out, right? It's not heaps of dead bodies. It's actually statues, bronze and marble statues of bodies. Okay, it's a person, the statue of a person. And there's tons of them. So they're like, dang, we done found something, right? We found some shit. And so they continue on to their journey of North Africa, and they're like conversing among themselves. Like, should we notify somebody? Who do we tell? Blah 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 blah. Cool. They decide to. Well, I couldn't find if they decided to tell the authorities or if the authorities just found out through, people. I couldn't find that information. Y'all let me know, okay? If you find it or if you know, let me know. Thank you. So yeah, so then the authorities go and they're like, we're gonna go explore, right? Which underwater archaeology was like not as popping then as it is now, okay? So they started like an expedition in the fall of 1900. Was it the fall? No, it was 1901. 1901, the fall of 1901, right? But the weather was crappy. So they had to stop until like spring of 1902. And then, baby, this everything they were finding, they was finding statues, money, um like things that used to be furniture but obviously have been in the water for thousands of years. So it's not as, it's not going to be a whole chair, right? Okay. So, yeah, and they found these like clumps of what you call it. Oh, they also found some jewelry and pottery. Yeah. All right. So then they also find these clumps and they don't know what it is, but it's green. So they're like, green underwater can symbolize like traces, like it's bronze basically because it oxidizes under the water, et cetera, et cetera. So they bring it up, but they're not really interested in it because again, it's just like a clump. Like when they found it, it was like the size of a dictionary basically. So they bring it up. They take everything to the National Archaeological Museum of Athens. Yes, Athens, Greece. Okay, so they take the stuff there. They put all the stuff in the room or whatever, storage room, waiting for it to be inventoried, the curator to come through, all of the good stuff. And nobody really shows any interest in the green clumps, right? Until, what's his name? Valerios Stace, I believe. That's how you say it. Yeah. But he's a Greek archaeologist. So he happens upon it and he is like, right? What is this? So he noticed that there were like gear wheels in it. Those things, right? So he knows there were gear wheels in it. So he's like, but these aren't regular gear wheels. These aren't like big clunky gear wheels. These are intricate, mathematical, precise gear wheels. Like this is something, right? Okay, cool. So he starts digging into it. And he actually was like speculating it to be a navigational tool or an astrolabe. I think that's how you say it. Since it was obviously found on a ship, which by the way, it was a Roman ship. You don't know, I'm half Italian. So it was a Roman ship. Anyways, so it was sorry. It was on its way from Greece to Rome to take some wealthy people, some wealthy things. Yes, that's what they were doing. So that's what, anyways, Valerio states. That's what he predicted that it was an astrological tool. No, a navigational tool or an astrolabe. That's what he thought. Okay. So then Albert Rim. So just so y'all know, let me preface this. Figuring out what this computer is and why it was made and who it was for and how, like all of the things was a group project. Okay. So no one person figured this out. So there's going to be a couple of names, right? Because this person found this out and this person found that out. So yeah. So enter the scene. Albert Rim. Okay. He's a German philologist. We could put the word right here with that. Okay. So that's what he is. Okay. So he entered the scene in 1905, 1906, right? He makes some of the most, everybody made a breakthrough discovery. Okay. But his was a big one. All right. Okay. So he started noticing that there's like inscriptions on it. And he's like, okay, is this like user manual, basically, like so then he transcribed them out, right? And so he and then he realized that the gears, right? So he suggested that they connected so that way they could turn together. Right? Okay. So then in 1971, Derek DeSolo Price, he's a British physicist, and Charalampos Garaclos, maybe? But they commissioned the first x-rays of this device in 1971. But x-rays back then weren't like they are today. So they were like 2D images. So they couldn't really see how everything worked together, but it did allow them to see the counts on the gears, right? So they kind of had somewhat of an idea of like, okay, these counts on the gears mean something. We're gonna get to that in a minute. But so they were able to figure some things out that otherwise we couldn't have without the x-rays, even though it was 2D imaging. It helped. Okay. It wasn't as helpful as I think they expected it to be, but it still, did its thing. Right. So, with the help of the tooth counts, right, and the transcriptions from the other guy, Rim, right, historians and archaeologists, they have now concluded, archaeologists and historians, that this is an astronomical calculating machine. Oh, yes. Yes, baby. Astronomical calculator. But just wait. Just wait. Okay. So, this is an astronomical calculating machine. The best way I can describe it, it looked like a grandfather clock, right? Because it was like encased in wood. It looked like a grandfather clock, but as big as like a mantle clock. Does that make sense? So it wasn't as big as a grandfather clock, but that's what it looked like. Okay. All right. So there was a knob on the side of it. And this is your little boop boop. Okay. And then there's a little turny thing on the side of it that you could turn to see what it is you wanted to see, on what date you wanted to see it, etc., etc. Okay. So one hand on there was the sun. I want to make sure I get this right. Another hand on it was the moon, and it had like a black and silver ball to like show what phase the moon would be in at that time. And there was another hand on it for each visible planet to like the naked eye, which at that time was Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. And then on the back of it, all of that was on the front of it. On the back of it were two other dials. One was a calendar, and the other one tracked lunar and solar eclipses. Mind blown. What? How do these people do this? I just don't understand. I don't understand. I'm still like flabbergasted at this. But anyways, right? So then in 2006, they did more x-rays because obviously imaging is now better. They did x-rays in 2006. The x-rays showed the transcriptions on there that we deciphered back in the 1900s. They now doubled because now they could see way more inscriptions under, the green stuff from the ship from being underwater. Like now that obviously it's corroded. Anyways, so the number of the transcriptions that they could decipher now doubled. So now they had more information on it, right? Also, they could now see how the mechanism all worked together. So the inscriptions actually explained which stars set in rows on any given date, so the zodiacs. They even incorporated retrograde mechanics. And this discovery was made by Michael Wright or whatever. I'm saying or whatever. He was very prominent to this story because that's like mind blowing. Which, if you don't know what a retrograde is, it's when a planet appears to be moving backwards to the naked eye. Like it looks like it's not going forward anymore. It's actually going back. That's when a planet is retrograde. And they knew this, and they incorporated it into this computer that they had. Craziness, right? So after they found this discovery out. Alexander Jones, who was a science historian, was quoted as saying, "It would be hard to dispute that this is the single most information rich object that has been uncovered by archaeologists from the ancient times." Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I don't know about you, but when I think of like ancient societies, civilizations, I don't think of computers. I think of like learning how to make a wheel, building a pyramid. That's what I think about. Because how do they even do that? But that's we're gonna make that another episode. But it's like, wow, but y'all make computers. But even then, it's like building a pyramid. I don't mean to say it like this. It's like a physical thing. Like you moving some stones somewhere, stacking them up on top of each other. Ta-da! But like to make a machine that tracks lunar eclipses, solar eclipses, retrogrades, when the zodiac's in the sky, the moon phase. Like, wow, y'all was deep. Y'all was deep. Y'all was smart. Like, okay. Yeah, wait, what? Anyways, so you might be wondering, because I did, where did they even get all of this information from? Like I said, y'all smart. Yeah. So come to find out that they built upon the information that they got from ancient Mesopotamia, right? Y'all know them, the first civilization, that by definition, a civilized community has like, laws. They have architecture, they have, you know, things that we do today. Like we're considered a civilized people, right? Because we just ain't out here being hooligans, right? Cool. So yeah, ancient Mesopotamians are the first people that studied astronomy that we know of, right? The ancient civilization. They were civilized. That studied astronomy, mathematics, architecture. They actually built the first pyramid. Did y'all know that? Yeah. They weren't the Great Pyramids in Egypt, but actually they weren't called a pyramid though. They were called a ziggurat, but it's a stepped pyramid. Anyways, enough about Mesopotamia. So yeah, the Greeks got the astronomy knowledge from the Mesopotamians and built upon that knowledge, and ta we got this. So beautiful, right? It's so beautiful. Actually, it's not today. It's actually like 82 clumps, but it was beautiful back in the day in its glory, right? Okay, cool. So the ancient Mesopotamians actually introduced an eclipse prediction calendar, which was like a 280 lunar cycle calendar, which was like 19 years. Yeah, they did some stuff. They did some stuff. I don't know how they did it, but they did it. They were smart. They were smart too. So yeah, right? So the one thing that like we don't know is when this was made. So there's like predictions, right? Because there's some ancient writings from like Cicero, who was a Greek orator. You know of him? He the what is it? Logos, Pothos, Ethos. Logos, Pothos, Ethos. I think those were the three made by him. So you have to have your logic. Anyways, all right, cool. Yeah. So Cicero wrote of similar devices being made, right? So he wrote of like, I don't know if it was him. I think it was that wrote of one being made in the 1st century BC, and then there was another one mentioned in the 3rd century BC. But it's never been confirmed nor denied, obviously, because he's ancient Greek. Okay, dead and gone. So yeah, we don't know who made it, right? But we know that it had to have been for the wealthy. Like this wasn't just like an average thing that you just had sitting in your house. This was a speaking piece. This is something that when people came in your home, it was something to talk about. Oh my God, you have the latest Louis bag? No. Oh my God. Like is that yeah, girl. I got a clock. I got a clock to show me when the stars is up. What you know, huh? Like who else you know with this? Who else got this? So yeah, right. Cool. But we do think that the ship that it was on sank around 60, 70 BC. So 2,000 years ago. 2,000 years ago. I don't know where that came from. that was just there. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I don't know if you're thinking like me, right? But like when I learned all of this, I was just kind of curious. Like, is this like one of a kind thing? Were there more? If there are more, where are they? Like, where are they? Are they in the ocean too? Like, were they on ships that got sank too? Are they in a cave somewhere? Are they like buried with somebody? Were they set on fire? Because they were on the way. They were on their way to Rome, right? And you know the story. Well, I don't know if you know the story, but when Rome got set on fire, I think it was Nero. They think Nero set the whole city on fire. We're gonna talk about that story too. We should talk about that story actually, because I'm really like, I love ancient civilizations, ancient Greece, ancient Rome, baby. Ah, ancient Egypt, Lord, take me out, take me out. Yeah. So, anywho, I don't know what happened to the rest of them. That's where my brain went, right? Because some things ain't making sense. And again, who made it? How much did these things cost, actually, now that I'm thinking about it? Because if the wealthy had it, it had to be worth some money. And it's not like they had factories back then where they could just poof, 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 poof. You know what I'm trying to say? Like just poof them get them out, pump them out like Walmart. Like this had to be handmade. This had to take time. Inquiring minds want to know, dude. So yeah, I just want to know, like, also, like, if obviously they lost this knowledge, right? Because nothing else was seen like it for like another 1,000 years. So how different would like technology be today if they hadn't lost that knowledge? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, if they kept building on that, what would our lives look like now? We might be looking like the Jetsons. We might be in flying cars, just possibly. Because I ain't gonna lie, when I was a kid watching the Jetsons, I was like, wow, when I grow up, this is what the world's gonna look like. And it don't. It don't. It is not a time out here. This was nothing like The Simpsons. I mean, Lord Jesus, The Simpsons, girl. This don't actually. That's the sad part. Everything does look like The Simpsons, and we don't need it to. We need it to look like the Jetsons. Okay, I need to come home and have a robot making my dinner. That's what I need. Okay, okay, because I'm tired. Anyways, that's a little rant. So, like I was saying, so for me, right, this computer is it's more than just about like how was it made. It's like if this device existed, what else could exist, right? Like what else have we not found? Like what else is still out there waiting to be discovered? Like this is what makes me want to get into archaeology. But then when you really like get into it, no. Like it's so painstaking, like just like slowly dusting stuff off. Oh, I would like my patience wouldn't let me do it, but I want to do it. Like it's a tug of war in my heart. Anyways, right? So yeah. What else? What else do y'all think is out there? Well, how do you think life would look different today had like they not lost that knowledge? Yeah, tell me what y'all think, okay? And I hope you learned something new from this episode. It's a shorter one, so I hope that makes you happy too. Um, yeah, tell me what you learned, if you learned anything at all, because yeah. And if you learned something, please share this episode because we like to spread the knowledge around here, baby. Okay, like let me help you educate some other people, right? Okay, because what did I say last time? What do I tell my sons every day before school? Knowledge is what? Knowledge is power. Okay, okay. So, anywho, right? That's the Antikythera. So, next week, we're gonna deep dive into the Romanov family. Know who they are? Do you? Do you? Do you? Do you? I grew up learning about them, and let me tell you, when I got older and learned the real stuff, baby, another mind blown moment, right? So next week we're gonna talk about the Romanov family. We're gonna figure out, you know, their demise. Was it because of betrayal, or was it just like destined to happen type history stuff? I think it was betrayal. That's what I think. That's my personal opinion. But we're going to find out for sure. I got lots of research to do this week. So, yeah, next week I'll be back with some more info. Which, by the way, spring equinox just passed. And we just did this episode on like astrological stuff. So, happy spring. If you're watching this in real time, happy spring. If you're watching this later on down the road, hey, girl. All right, guys. Well, come back next week. If you don't, that's fine. If you do, I love you. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.